SBA EIDL Loan Appeal and EIDL Loan Increase Updates, August 22nd, 2022. I'm also going to be getting into strategic partnerships and roadmaps to help you as an alternative for the EIDL loan. Perhaps it's the SBA 7A. We're probably currently going through it right now and helping you. Perhaps you're in the underwriting and all other services like private, non-private lenders. What other options do you have available? Perhaps you think you've exhausted everything, but there may be one thing you're missing. So you'll want to stick around with me until the very end so you get that piece of information. But before I get started, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. And if this is your first time, I am a business loan broker expert / agent who's been able to help a lot of industries during this COVID epidemic time, pre, post, wherever we are currently. And those of you who haven't been struggling as bad also get the funding they need to move forward to continue to build, grow, expand, and even get out of a tight pinch. So I've worked with all industries just so you have an idea. I hear all the problems. I know your pain points. I know the questions you may have, the roadblocks, and what actual results, what is your overall outcome in the short term and or in the long term. So if you're watching me right now, please give me a hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you're watching this later on. I greatly appreciate you guys. I hope you all had a great weekend. I know I did. It was nice and sunny here in Washington. Hopefully it was there. You're enjoying the last couple of weeks or so that we have in this summer, and you're in that transition phase. Perhaps you have your family, your kids who are going back to school earlier than you wanted them to, or perhaps you were like, it's finally time for them to get up out of the house, stop playing out in the streets, and start going to school, coming back, doing a little bit more of that. But now you have freed up a little bit more of your time and so forth. So a lot of things are transitioning right now during the last phase of the summer, and then going into the next few quarters, in this quarter next, and then the one in the new year. There's going to be a lot of changes happening, perhaps with the interest rates, another spike in September. Perhaps a lot of stuff happening in the economy, like supply chain issues progressing, and quite a bit more things. But I'm not going to overwhelm you with that in this video. What I want to get into is a share screen in a moment, showing you guys how to get a hold of your constituent advocates or your small business advocates, so you can explain to them about your EIDL loan appeal and what you've done to verify the information that you received from the SBA, to be able to then communicate that with them and get a hold of your local senator. You usually have two. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that on a specific site in just a moment. But in case you didn't watch last week's live, I spoke about this topic in depth on how to get a hold of your constituent advocate, the small business advocates. Why is that important to you if you're somebody who requested an increase before the May 6th deadline or on the May 6th deadline, and you're looking for this appeal, you haven't been able to get approved for your EIDL loan, but you said, hey, I'm going to go speak to the SBA, speak with my loan officer, get on a call with them, get on an email, and you know how the communication can be, but you got a hold of them. You gave them your communication and asked them, hey, what if any information was unverifiable? Can I please get that? And what do I need to do to fix it? What are these errors, perhaps? Perhaps it's something they did on their part. They won't be as honest with you on that. They may say, hey, I'm sorry, we did something wrong with the 45060 form. I need you to amend this. This hasn't been done yet. And there could be other pieces of documentation, but I'm not going to get into what those are in this video. Just make sure before you speak to your local senator, you go and you speak with your loan officer, and you are able to verify the information that you need. And then once you have it, you have all the documents, everything is done, ready to go. Then you come over here to your constituent advocate or your small business advocate, whoever it is you can get a hold of. It's not always your constituent. And then you can get them on a phone call and just present yourself, who you are. And I'm on this phone call because I wanted to request an EIDL appeal, and I have been able to verify all the information that the SBA has provided me with, and I was able to do this and this. And I just wanted to let you know, and I'm going to be sending you an email your way, making sure that it's all there so you have more information, and perhaps with an attached document if necessary, but not all the times, especially in your initial point of conversation. And I'm also going to be showing you a quick example of a template you can use so you can quote unquote butter them up in the first one or two sentences. So it shows more gratitude and it shows more appreciation for your senator and so forth. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let me jump into the comment section or in the, excuse me, in the tabs in just a moment. Hi, Ibuka. Hi, Cedric. I'll get to your guys' comment in just a moment, but I wanted to share this first. So where you will want to go through, and I've been doing this a lot lately for myself and for other clients, this has always been a thing. Now you can go to congress.gov, very straightforward, fast. I mean, there are other alternatives in case you already know who your senator is and who you need to get a hold of if you have their number, if you have their email address, and etc. So over here, what I will do, I'm already in a page that I was looking for certain clients. But over here, you'll want to go to the congress.gov site where you'll see current Congress, all Congresses, legislation, all the way down to nominations. So we'll leave it as it is as currently. That's what we want to deal with, not a previous administration or another place. So you can see this homepage in a sense of what it looks like, the leadership team, current members of Congress. But we don't want to get a hold of everybody and everybody. So what you want to do is you want to go over to the right-hand side here where it says contact your member, find your member by address. You can put yours specifically. And another plus right here is you can even use the current location. So if I click there, it will bring me that page. I gave you guys a little look in there. But over here, I can type in something like Texas. So let me type in Texas, and it can even, before I do that, let me come back here to show you what happened. If I type in Texas, city Texas, you can do it precisely, or you can do it by state. So we're going to just do Texas so we can get an overall idea. Now, on the left-hand side, as you saw earlier, it shows you the map where you typed in, you didn't type in a specific location, so it didn't target zoom into that. And it didn't give you just a limited amount of results. Instead, it's going to give you everything. So on the right-hand side here, you're going to get the different parties and who they're serving with. So here we have Representative Arrington, Jody C., State, Texas, Party, they're Republican, served, House 2017 through the present. So again, we're looking through the current. Now, contact number, you can see that. They'll even give you a phone number. But what we want to do is we want to locate the Senate, not the House. And some of it would be different depending on your state. So you might have Democratic, you might have Republican. Usually you have two. Sometimes you may be only able to locate one because they're only available. Now over here, we scroll down, we're going through the House and the Republicans. And another way you can do this, watch. Here, I'll show you how to find it first. To the Democratic Party. Making a difference. Senate. So here you have Senator Cruz. So Senate 2013 through present, that's how you know they're current. And then the contact number, and then they give you a phone number. What I would do is click on this link right here, that's hyperlink, that says contact. It'll open up a new tab. A moment. Let me open up that tab right there. And it will look something like this. Okay, I'm going to show you another example where it'll look a little bit different. But please enter your first name. You can enter it here. I don't want that to appear, so we're going to do that. Select an issue they can help you with. Hi, Yulia, welcome in. Do I help with, let me move this over. So I aid as an agent. I don't necessarily I can help you understand how to put emails together and put the right documentation together. But when it comes to them underwriting, them coming to serve you in that sort of way, it's different. It's where I'm hands off. But I follow up with you and I can follow up with you in the process. So going back to this form, select an issue, and I'll show you a different example where the page will look different. So over here, you have a lot of things to choose from. So welfare, veteran, transportation, trade, government reform, regulations, education, campaigns, elections, budgets, appropriations, banking, and housing. So some of these will be different. One of them will tell you small business. Other ones won't tell you that. So over here, constituent would be one. Now let me show you an example where it would look a bit different because of the page. Let me go, and I'll come back to this one. Opening it up in a new window. So we'll come back to this one. But let's see if I can move the, since I don't want to exit out of this page, I'm going to keep it all under one. Then I would have to get out of that shared screen and open up a new one for different tabs that I have open. So what I'm going to do is, if we came back to this portion of the page, let's say I typed in Washington this time. Another way you can find your local senator is you can do the Control F button on your keyboard and then type in, you can see the words up there, Senate. Oh, you probably can't see that. But what I have is a search feature where I typed in Senate after Control F, typed it in, and then it showed me where to find them much faster, so I don't have to go through all the scrolling. So if I come over here, let's click on Democratic there, Senate served, Senate. So once I have that information, I will click there. I wanted to show you one where it'll look a little bit different. Okay. So I have another tab open. Let me come back to this one so I can show you what it would look like underneath a different senator. Let's go back to Texas example. Contact. So it has been set up a little bit different depending on your state. So I want to find one where, see, because I clicked on Senator Cruz and it'll do the same thing. Your constituent small business is what you want to select. But let me come back to this here and type it in, because I know how this one would work. And let me type in. Let's come back to the original search page. Okay. So we come over here. Now this is what I want to show you. There it is. So for Senator Rubio, this is the great example. That's why I wanted to move away from those for now, and then I'll come back to them. But I found Senator Rubio, and it brought me to this page. Over here now, you'll see the main page it'll bring you to. Usually opens it up in a new tab. So we'll go back to the other ones because they're laid out, formatted a bit different. So email me. See this information on the left-hand side, some more related links. But over here, contact info, home/contact info, and it may look like that to you, or maybe a bit different. Note, fields marked with an asterisk are required. Share your opinion on important issues and legislation. Are debating in Congress. I want to know which issues you care about most. To request assistance, you can go through this if you'd like. Prefix, fill all this information out, but we'll skip this for now. And then make sure you have everything. It says Florida should be automated. Zip code, and be precise about your specific location. Please type the subject of your message, SBA EIDL Loan appeal. And it's similar to what you've seen in other formats when you're requesting a reconsideration email, but this one we're going for an appeal at the moment. So over here, you'll want to type in your message, and I put one of an example. I have many examples that I put together, just formatted it a bit different. But let me go through it. You can start off by saying, you want to address them first and foremost, like any email, hi, Senator, and then their name. For this example, we put Rubio, but you would want to put their name, Senator Rubio, for this example. And you always want to start it off with a comma. Well, there are different ways of saying this, but I've modified a few things, and I know what works. I look forward to voting I like to say for you in the near future. Well, because the reason I put near future is because then I can address something that's happening soon. Not something that, well, it goes without being said, yes, but here, let me move this over. Not seeing any. Oops, I think I moved into the banners folder. Let me go over here. Comments. Okay, there we go. I couldn't see your guys' comments because it was moved into a different folder. So I look forward to, make sure it's on the same page as we are. I look forward to voting for you in the near future. And you can even have a run-on sentence. Not really, but I greatly appreciate, or you could do. The reason I always like to put and after that is because they're busy as so much as you are. So why would I want to waste one sentence? So what I want to do is I look forward to voting for you in the near future. And I greatly appreciate all your hard work. You're acknowledging everything that they've done. But to doing what? And helping small businesses or businesses, you can say so, be dressed differently, stimulate the economy because they're transferring their energy and time by how they help people to stimulate these businesses and stimulate the economy. So there's a huger vision behind it. And when he sees that, he'll go, oh, yeah, that's the vision that I have. And they're acknowledging it and they understand what I'm trying to do. And that's a little bit, and all. Let's do this. And for all. And for all the forward moving impact, I like to sometimes put an uppercase I because it shows authority. It shows, yes, you're making this happen. You've made it. And then, oops. There we go. And you want to get into your business, my small business. And then here's a little play on this too. You can put my small business. And then in parentheses, you can even put, I know how it's highlighting it in blue, so you can always close the sentence because it's an extra and. My small business. I don't know. You don't have to put your business in parentheses, but you could, or you could leave it without. It just shows, hey, they do have a business. I'll look into it. I'll see what their business is. It shows a little bit more curiosity. My business, in this example, is in, what we're doing, Florida? Yeah, Florida. And then this is where we address what we want them to do. Please have your constituent advocate or small business advocate, which you address advocate, reach out to me because they're the ones who are handling the EIDL loan process. Remember that. You might not always be able to get on the phone with them, but when you email your Senate, this is a way for him or her to forward it over to them. So it might not be them responding back to you. So just keep that in mind. In regards to my SBA EIDL loan application. As of, and this is the important part because you want to also address that you paid attention to you being given access to contact them. As of, and then you could put the date 8/19 2022, or you could put if it was just, I don't know, as of last Friday, something like that, or as of 8/2022 or 8/19, excuse me. You can even put as of August 2020, August 19th, 22nd. Put that too. As of August 19th, 2022. Sure. Let me come back to this. The SBA has given my senator the ability to fix any issues. It can put any issues and any errors if you want. Any issues and errors. Make sure you address it too. Any issues and errors over the course of the next few weeks. Those are the key words there. Few weeks. Please also send me a privacy release form I look forward to hearing back from you, or I look forward to hearing from you soon, or I look forward to hearing from you. So you can sound desperate, but you can also put that, doesn't allude to that. And then you might want to put it all underneath one. You could put something like thanks and then your name, first and last name, you know, shows professionalism. And you can always break it up and then put the thanks and your name after, so towards the bottom. That right, thanks. You can do it that way, or you can put it all underneath one. But you have the idea now of what you can go ahead and do when you're putting this information together. Now let me come over here to the comments. And go back to this page. congress.gov. If I were to type in like Washington, I can do a quick search. Senate. House. Come over here to the comments. There it is. Yeah, Michael. When you go back to Texas, you have to go under the tab Discuss an Issue. Then the drop-down tab will say Small Business. You had to look for it yourself. So Michael brings up a good point, everybody. The way you add the issue will, again, be different per state. They have changed the way it looks. So when you are selecting an issue, it's either small business, small businesses. It'll be a bit different. Small business, small businesses. There's constitutional small business advocate in some of them. And for this one, there's another one when you're looking at it from a Texas point of view. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you, Michael. And that's why you see it look a bit different in that format. So let me move this out of the way. Yeah, and they're not very clear either how they tell you how it works, and then two, what you need to do in case it shows up looking different. So over here, if we contact it, and there's a number again, but I would go through their contact first and email them. And this one is a bit different. So let me come back over here to this page. And let's type in. So you can see there. Contact. Then I go underneath there. Sorry, I have a new page open. I'll show you guys in a moment. Every senator will be different, just so you guys know. The way you guys get a hold of them will not be different. Will be different, just like Michael said here for Texas. You'll see the same layout in Texas, as well as a few other states, where they have to have you select the drop down, and then the choices aren't as obvious. So make note of that when you guys do so, and he'll bring it up on the board if you're in Texas or similar. So again, Michael here is saying, when you go back to Texas, you have to go into the tab discuss an issue. Then the drop down tab will say small business. You had to look for it yourself. Got you. And so that's what you want to do. There will be an extra step or two. Sometimes the obvious choice isn't there. But for mostly when you go and email your senator, it will give you a drop down that says small business or small businesses. When you're in that, you select that as your issue. And then when you put in the subject line, you can put SBA EIDL Loan Appeal, SBA EIDL Appeal. Give more words. Don't just put EIDL Appeal. Like that shows laziness. Just put SBA EIDL Loan Appeal, which means you're already taking the time to put something together. Why not do it? And if it's serious enough to you, you will. So make sure that's the case. Appreciate you again. Thank you, Michael. And obviously, I haven't gone through all of them. Like I've helped out a lot of individuals, but the format is different for each and every senator. And if I go back here, let me do one more, and then we'll wrap this one up. So let's just do. So here's an example. One moment. There it is. Okay. I'm in another tab. So this is similar to the one we saw before. Kind of like what you saw in Texas, but in a different format. Instead of selecting one page per page, you're going and you're seeing this one. Email me, home contact, email me. And if it's not as obvious, if the person doesn't take you directly to their page, make sure you find the contact tab, click there if it's not on the first page you see, and there will be more information. You may be able to do the same thing here. And then in other cases, they'll have you click a link, and then it'll bring you somewhere else where you have to go through one step and then to another one. So every one of them is different. So you'll see this similar to what we're seeing earlier. If you would like to schedule a meeting with me or invite me to an event, please click here. And as you can see, this opens up the scheduling a request, meeting request, location, name of participants. So we can come back to this page. And then you'll want to fill out similar information to what we saw before, like with Senator Rubio. Make sure you put your email in there. What is the general topic of your message? Please choose one from the list below. If you need help dealing with the federal agency, please fill out a casework form and mail to my San Francisco office. We cannot accept email requests for casework assistance. Other popular services, and they'll give you this, so you can more or less skip all that. And then the issues here, it won't be as obvious again where it'll say small business or small businesses as we saw earlier. And then it'll say, please write your message, as you guys can use the template and rewind back to how that can work. So you have everything from adoptions, agriculture, animals, banking and finance, communications, criminal justice, defense, education, student loans. The list goes on and on. See that? So usually there would be a spot where it says small business or small businesses. And if it were a drop down, it would say that, and it's very obvious. So for this one, you could obviously tell that it's not going to be any of those issues when you're talking about getting your business funding. So banking and finance is one to take a look at. And then over here, you'd want to put your message in. And then Mike will give you guys the alternative in a state like Texas on what you guys can do to progress forward from there. So let me move this over and come back to like this. Contact. Issues, okay, I see that. 1 second. There it is. See, not everybody will have a clear page, and I'm looking at a different tab right now, guys. I'll show you guys in a moment. Discuss an issue. There it is. All right, so this is what I'm going to show you guys next. And this is what I think Michael is talking about. And I'm on that page, Michael. So let me show you guys what to do in the example of a state like Texas. So over here, we selected the senator, as we saw there, from the Republican Party, Senator Cornyn. So we're going to click that button. It'll bring us to this page. I'm sure, Michael, you went through something like this or with a different senator. But you go through this page, and you'll want to scroll down. Yes, you see the issues, and you may want to click there right away, but don't do that. It won't give you that option. So scroll down to where it says Get in Touch, and you'll want to select Discuss an Issue. That'll bring up a new tab. And then this is the page that looks more similar. So please select an issue. As you see there, you can scroll down and you'll see small business. Sometimes it'll say small businesses. And in this case, you wouldn't want to select banking because it wasn't the option because we're given small business in this one. So small business, write a brief message, first, last, email, phone, and just the rest of the information, just as the other ones. Now let me do one more thing and we'll move the screen over. Actually, I wanted to do this. You guys can't see this, but I'm going to move away from this in just a moment. I wanted to get an idea of the senator. Make sure there wasn't something in here. Okay. All right. And then let me go to her homepage just so I can see this. What I'm trying to find out if it's a similar thing with the discuss an issue with her page as it is with the other one. So she may not have this, so you'll have to use something like banking. But for Senator Rubio and a few other people, it could be a little bit different. Now, let me move out of this page and then go into some of the other things that are happening. But before, what you want to do, and I said this last week, is make sure you get a hold of the SBA. Talk to your loan officer first before you do any of this. This will come to no avail if you don't have the information you needed to get from the SBA. If you're just going at it blindly, I need my money, but you don't understand. I requested it before the May 6th deadline or on that day, and I have all the information. I have the documentation. Yeah, but is it verifiable? Does it align up with the new documentation process that the SBA has put in place? Does it have the newest templates? Does it have the amended forms? So the question is, I have to come over here to speak with my loan officer, email, via phone call, etc., and get a hold of them and be able to explain your situation and the positioning you're in. And I need this information released to me. What do I need to get? Because I'm going to speak with my senator, so they have the information they can convey, and then relate it, and then say, yeah, they're appealing this successfully. Because aside from that, it won't really work. And so once this is taken care of, sure, you can get on a phone call. The phone call could have happened in the beginning where you said, hey, I'm just going to let you know I want to send you an email on the information that I have requested from the SBA that I'm going to present to you. And this is how we can move forward. And the time frame to hear back isn't very much clear. If anybody else tells you out there, it's not usually in 3 days, 5 days. It can take 1 to 2 plus weeks, sometimes a month plus. So it's all about just being patient. And in the meantime, seeing what other services are available. It's not just all EIDL loan. So I'm going to jump into share screen here. Let me see if I can open up the tab. All these new tab windows that I have now. So a few key points that I already mentioned, and I have this other document here that I put together. Have your application number ready. Make sure if they ask you for that you're giving them the right numbers, the right documentation, obvious. Call them and let them know that you've sent it is another way to follow up. So you may be able to call them in the beginning. Just let them know I'm going to send you an email. You send that email, call them again, let them know that you sent the email to them. And that's how I would approach it. All before that, though, you don't have all the information you need from the SBA, then it would really make no sense for you to go and do that, because they're only going to decline the file. And you only really get realistically one shot at this. So make sure you take full advantage of it and don't say, oh, I made a mistake. I should have had my information ready, should have listened. And it wouldn't have been so much of a big problem. But make sure you do that. Let me move out of these pages here. And I'm going to jump into a new share screen. So what you're seeing half on the screen right now is a questionnaire form. I know I didn't say this in the beginning, but if you were wondering, how do I get in contact with you if this is your first time or you've had contact with me, I just have yet to email you back, text you, etc. Because I do get flooded, guys. It's been very busy today on a Monday. I'm sure you are too. The last thing you want to hear about is what other loans are available, where do I go start an application, because you have to take care of your business first. And that may mean business operational things, the product side, the marketing, the finance, etc. So you're handling that first, and then you'll come full circle to this. But I have a personalized and customized email questionnaire that I'll leave for you guys down below in the description, where when you simply fill it out, it'll land in my email, where then I will evaluate, analyze it, and then give you a proper response back on your best funding option and options. Very detailed, broken down. It's a very long one. I have a lot of people today who've been saying, oh, I have to read this 3 times or 4 times. It's a very long email. And then I respond back by saying whether they think it's positive or negative. I'm not assuming either or. But it's in your best interest, because you'll have that there as reference. You can always go back to my email, and if something's adjusted, we can always work at it and say, oh, okay, just the numbers would adjust a bit differently, or the program just changed a little bit here, but it's not really, the underwriting guidelines are still the same way. You have a place of solace, a place like a chamber or your getaway place to go visit and say, I have all my funding resources right here. Why do I need to go anywhere else? And the problem that I see a lot of the time when you're getting business funding is you're applying everywhere and anywhere at once. You may apply here, you don't want to wait. So I'm going to go and apply to there. I have this direct lender, then I might have this brokerage, and then I might have 3 other direct lenders. You're thinking you're doing the right thing, but you're actually causing a lot of harm. I can't disclose a lot of information, but the lenders, they can see you in their system. They can see how many times you've applied. They can see how many offers. They can see if you just did it for fun. They can see if you're just complaining, you weren't happy about something. And then that can completely remove these private lenders from giving you money, or 2, it causes a huge reduction. And then they can also move you down different tiers. So if you're already at an 8-tier lender, they may think, oh, John or Sally's just messing about. They're not actually serious about this. They didn't learn from their first time. I'm sure Michael, their broker, spoke to them on what they needed, but they're trying to get the same results when they haven't changed the actual diagnosis or fixed it. They're just fixing the symptoms. They think by generating more revenue, that'll get them approved for a line of credit this time. They think that by just doing this with their FICO score. No, but they didn't take the time to put it together. They didn't take the time to understand that, hey, if we started here, then that can move you then later on into a monthly term loan. And that perhaps we can pay that off in 3 to 6 months and then move it all underneath it and consolidate for an SBA 7A loan. It can be an express loan, a standard loan, cap line on top of it. So there are a lot of ways to go about it. Maybe it's a personal loan because your bank statements don't look good. And then on top of a personal loan, we can look at business credit cards, the credit line stacking program. But if you don't realize these things, if you don't understand that, you shouldn't just take an advance here, another advance there, 3 positions in. You want somebody to pay it all off when you haven't paid off over 50% of the balance. You're not even in one position where you only have about 10,000 left remaining, where a monthly lender can come and say, hey, I'll give you a monthly term loan at about 12 months now instead of 8 months because you fixed your credit score. And then in about 3 to 6 months, if you're paying over 50% of the balance, then we could look at getting it all moved underneath and consolidating it for an SBA loan. Now you have about 10 years in working capital. Now your repayment schedule is a lot less. And then on top of that, what are my other options in the meantime? Well, I got these credit cards. How do I keep my credit limit low? How do I fix my credit? How do I get it from a 700 to an 800? So you got to continuously be improving. And if you're not doing that, you're going to be sitting back. Did you? An email to Senator Cornyn? I always want to say it's natural to say Corinne, isn't it? Nice. I'm happy to hear it, Michael. You're taking the right steps you need without me even saying anything. There are a lot of templates I can give you to kind of quote unquote butter it up, but you want to keep it short, precise, and to the point, and make sure that they get the message across and address those different issues from their name all the way to who you are, why you're emailing them, why they should care, and how you're hoping to hear back from them. You guys got to see that today. I know I spent a little bit of time on that site. But PPP stuff, just know there's a lot of fraudulent activity. It's crazy right now. It's like a lot of extra files coming in or just repeat fraud. And it's like on a back wheel just happening over and over. EIDL loan the same. If you guys didn't hear me say there's about to be a 10-year investigation, it's going to take that amount of time for the amount of people that they're going to bring in to take care of it and see who's been fraudulent, who hasn't been, who's been righteous, who can we actually help moving forward, who can we say, hey, we can't work with you anymore if this program ever opens up. You're proven to cause fraudulent activity. Let's see, can we really work with you? Well, I learned my lesson, and it's kind of like a private lender. You default on a loan. They're not going to come in and say, hey, we can help you. They may be able to. There's one lender out there who I know who will say, yeah, but we're going to give them 30 days. We're going to give them a high interest. We're going to give them like 60%. Pay it back in 30 days. Probably give you a little bit. Sometimes they give you more. And they're going to say, can you prove it to me? If you go on a default again, then there are higher repercussions they have to take. So now let me move over here. Ibuka, yes, I will get back to you. I saw your emails coming in or your messages on my notification. I'm just trying to get the rest of my portal. Yeah, I hear you. A lot of people are. And unfortunately, the way that things are laid out at this moment, not giving enough people access. It's a bit different with the repayments coming up here in October, the way you get access. But yeah, with your portal and everything, that can be a bit more complex. So hopefully a lot of things are changing here in the near future as I hear back from my loan officers and more information is given. I can't disclose everything. I have like my notes here that I can't say some of the stuff that's on there. And it's the same thing. When you guys are getting business funding with the private lender, I can't always give you what my underwriting team gave me. They'll say, Michael, don't tell them that. You, I can. And you, I can even tell you more as opposed to another broker because I have an amazing relationship with you. And that's what they tell me. They're like, Michael, you're so easy to work with. And because I have this personal and business relationship with, here is what happened. But just don't tell them this part. We don't want to get into it. Or two, that's not something you can talk to them about. So a lot of the times I won't give you that. Sometimes I'll just say, for certain circumstances, this time we cannot approve you. So it's kind of like you get in idea, like read between the lines, like, oh, I think I know what he's talking about. So that's what's happening there. The employee retention tax credit getting up to $26,000 per employee. I'm working with quite a few people getting processed over 200, 500,000 and above, and even below the 200, 100K range. And if you're one of those individuals that I have already sent an email to get started with it and haven't, it's just a matter of time. Just understand when you want to get into it and don't waste too much time, because it can be cutting back on more quarters, as we saw previously with quarter 4. But get that information in. I sent you perhaps the application. I also sent a review video walking you through the application process. A little bit has changed, not too much, but make sure you're going through that and you understand when you get to the final stages, what do you need to upload? And I won't discuss it here in this video, but you'll see it all underneath that one, what needs to be amended and what extra supplemental documentation. You'll see it all underneath there. So employee retention tax credit, make sure you get that in. Don't waste any time. That's a very popular program. I have a lot of people I'm helping getting processed. A lot of people are already getting their funding. A lot of those of you who are waiting, if you had already submitted one, those of you maybe perhaps didn't come through me and have already explained to me you did go through the employee retention tax credit, the PPP program as well. Maybe some of the things that were forgiven, it just didn't show up the way it needed to be on your documentation, which is, I get it, it's understandable with recent times and not having a recent adjustment. So make sure you guys understand that. And I'm going to get into a quick few things, and then I'm going to close up shop here before an hour. Appreciate you guys. Do you personally do the ERTC or you partner with companies? So I don't specifically like get in and do the underwriting and have that. That's part of what the IRS will do. But yes, I do have a partnership as a broker, as an agent. But I'm hands-on in the sense that I can show you how to do the application. I can show you all the extra pieces of requirementation and then the documentation that they're going to be asking you for. And if it doesn't look right, what do you need to readjust and what do you need to fix? What issues do you have? I've done that quite a bit with people who will send me their information so I can revise it, take a better look at it. Because I know what the payroll management experts are doing. That's what they focus on. It's the same thing when I focused on credit repair, and I did it like myself with different software services. But because I want to focus on business funding, and it's a whole lot of work on its own. And I know as a business owner, you have your own things and you're like, I am booked. I either can sacrifice time for freedom, or how do I want to take this? I want no freedom, so I want to have total control, or I want to give up control and have more freedom. And so when that played in the back of my mind, I thought about just focusing on certain parts of business funding. And the same thing goes. I can handle the documentation, especially with private lenders. Like if you send me the tax returns, business, personal, year-to-date financials, profit and loss, balance sheets through whatever quarters, if it's in the current year, how many months of bank statements, what do I need necessary? Because I will look through all of that before I even submit it over to the lender. Make sure I have everything, one. And then two, is it reporting appropriately? And three, are the documents separated the way that I need to get them? Because it helps me more visually. And two, there's more showing on those types of documents. So it might be a matter of just preparing it. You may not even have a business debt schedule because you have no business debt, which is amazing. Maybe you don't have an APAR report. That's not how your business operates. So there are different parts of the process that I assist in, but I'm always hands-on is what you should understand. Parts of these processes, it takes my involvement to a degree, and me having to, one, follow up with you, but then two, also if I have to look at the documentation, I will look at it myself before it gets submitted, or once it's submitted, then I can get a better understanding with the payroll management experts and follow up with them and see how it's going along. And that's what I want you guys to understand from there. I understand you started a business that processes the ERTC for clients. We are doing that exclusively until tax season starts again. Appreciate you. Thank you for bringing that up. Now that I know, have a better understanding of how perhaps we can work together in the future. But thank you for bringing that up. Now, let me come over here to the comments, see if there's anybody else in here. This is a spontaneous live. So again, it's not like I broadcasted it, and I know not everybody can join. So if you're watching this later, great. So like I said, again, this is the questionnaire. I know I didn't show you guys fully, but it'll be down below in the description. And you'll want to fill out things like, here, let me move this part. Name, email, phone number, mobile preferred, so I can text you, follow up with you and say, hey, I sent you an email response. not to harass or heckle you. Funding amount that you're requesting, your time in business is a years or months, please specify. FICO credit score, I'm not a creditor. I won't use this information against you. It's very safe and secure. Do you have established business credit? Please, yes or no. Don't leave it blank. Lowest monthly revenue in the last 3 months. Average monthly revenue. What's your average daily bank balance? What's your annual gross revenue? What's your highest monthly sales in the last 6 months? Estimated if you need to be. Your average monthly gross sales in the last 6 months, estimated again if need be. Use of funds. There's a lot from the drop down. You can select other. Existing business loan, yes or no? Very important stuff for me. When do you need your funds by? Give me a time frame. Give me tomorrow. I needed it by next week. I need it in a month. Why is that important for me? Because I understand how many times do I have to follow up with you? I have to get an understanding of, oh, well, you don't need money now. So why am I asking you, or why should I have to ask, hey, are you ready to get funding tomorrow, or something very pressure free? But it helps me understand, like, okay, this client is wanting this and this time, so I have to move on to my next client who actually needs my help right now, who will actually need to get this done by tomorrow or in the next week. It's very time sensitive that they need their money. And then I'll still work with you. I'm not saying I won't. It's just I'll help your file. I'll help you understand what you need to do. And then over here, I got to help this other individual with this specific part. Now, let me move back. And then business industry, business name, any additional notes. Usually I have this required right now. I set it on like that because some people will just put expansion. But what does that mean? Are you trying to get a new truck? Are you trying to get new bid projects? Are you trying to do more supplies for those projects that you have and you need an extra 120,000 for that and then 15% for inventory? Just be a little bit more specific. I don't expect you to be as specific. If it takes an email back and forth, maybe a text, or perhaps it's a phone call where you have to explain your situation a little bit more, or a direct messenger chat, and you want to hear my voice, then there's a time and place for it. But it doesn't always have to be on a phone call. Just know that we can always get this done as quick as possible. Like right now, I'm dealing with a client, quite a few, but one most recently who, doing exceptional in revenue in the healthcare space. I sent him, I think on Saturday, I filled out his questionnaire email response. So I followed up with him today. I sent him a text letting him know that I sent him that email. And guess what he said? I'm already on top of it. I'm sending you that documentation right as we speak. And he's going for an SBA type of loan with a hybrid where he can perhaps get evaluated for other funding products in the meantime. And then if he gets approved for the SBA, we can consolidate it, can move everything, boom, have everything underneath one. And so he was already on top of it. I sent him that email at the very top. I showed him his best funding option, bar none, the best, obviously from what he gave me. I know that's the best route to go. He's putting all the documentation, sent about just all of it to me. I'm just looking for some personal tax returns. And then we can bada boom, bada bing, move on to the next step. But that's the kind of individual that I look for when I'm working is, hey, are you going to stall? 2, are you going to move forward? And I'm very pressure free. You can speak to anybody that I help. I'm not like, hurry up and give me the info. I'm not like that at all. My personality isn't that way. But don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I'm an older brother of 2, 29. My younger brother is about 23. So what I say is, wow, when I even told them in a text message, I appreciate you and for being on top of it, exclamation point. Because it didn't have to take 3, 4, 5 phone calls. Yeah, let's schedule another appointment next week. Let's schedule another appointment after we spoke in 2 weeks. And then guess what? Never anything happens. Or it does, it just was too drawn out of a process. We wasted a lot of time and energy on a phone call. You're busy. I'm busy. I'm legitimate, by the way, if you're questioning that for the first time, if you're watching me. We can get everything done in an email. This is what I need for documents. You can upload it into an online portal where we can see it all. It's very safe and secure. Or you can send it to me. I can then forward it over to the lender. But please still submit this digital application process so we have it on file. Or we don't have to do it that way. We can have a PDF version of it done this way. But boom, this is how the process is going to work. Our underwriters will reach out to you, or we have an in-house where we have to look at this SBA process. That's much better. That's who I want to work with. Not somebody who comes in on the first day of the month and then I don't hear back from them until the 23rd of the month or in 2 months from now when we spoke about this. And I was very clear. And you said you were looking for funding much sooner and there was no ever feedback given. Like, all I ask for is feedback. I don't ask for the world. All I want from you is feedback. Like, I care about you first, who you are as a person. Secondly, your business. But if there's no feedback, like right now, I have a couple of people who are approved for 2 to 3, 4, 5 million in SBA loans. Others who have already taken it, like it's a piece of cake. Like, do you want it or not? Not. Oh, I just went AWOL for 3 months. Like a few people we have, and I'm like, what's going on with them? Not even our lender can get a hold of them. It's very unprofessional the way they're handling it. Perhaps they were busy, yeah, but it's been 2 or 3 weeks. Not even a single a word, like a little "I can't" is better than nothing. And then you follow that up with "I couldn't do this because of this," and that's feedback. And the reason that's important for you moving forward is because if you're just messing about, other lenders will see this and say, "Hey, you got approved for an offer here of 3 million. Why were you sitting on it for 2 weeks? They actually gave you too much time, but because of who you work with, they were able to give you that." If you went to this lender, they're like, "We need this done in about a week. You got to give us a decision." But because who I'm partnered with gives you that flexibility. But don't take advantage of it. Be responsive. Don't be an unresponsive client. If you don't like the answer to something, address it to me. I can help you understand it better, or say, "Hey, this is what was left out. Let me add this in, see if it makes a little bit more sense to you." And then we move forward. But complaining that I didn't get what I wanted, or everybody starts somewhere. And then we have to add on top of that. So that brings me to my next point, and I'm going to conclude here. I don't want to bring it up on the tab because I have it open now. Okay. Strategic partnerships and roadmap. I cannot overemphasize those keywords enough. If I could just put it right here on a piece of paper on the wall, it says strategic partnerships and roadmaps. What I mean by that is, do you want to be that individual who consistently applies everywhere, sprays and prays? Please get me the 80,000. I'm only doing 10,000 a month. Well, I didn't want a daily repayment. Why didn't I not know that before? Oh man, I got myself 3 loans. I don't know how to take care of this. I'm going into a default 2, 3 times. I really wanted that monthly repayment. I really wanted that line of credit. I really wanted that SBA loan. I wanted to get my equipment this way as opposed to this way. I could have added a personal loan on top of a line of credit, on top of this cash advance in this exact way. I could have used this MCA as a down payment for my equipment, the sales leaseback method like this. Man, I wish I would have known that. If I would have known it back then, I would have been in good hands. So without showing you guys that exact tab that I'm sure you guys have seen, but there are people who are always every single day in this situation. They're living through it. They come home already stressed out. So much overhead, business expenses, so much debt that they've already accumulated. On top of that, all the interest rates on these credit cards, all these additional fees that are much more expensive than their rent on a month-to-month basis. And they're still looking for these term loans. You can't even afford to make those repayments. How could we afford to give you a lump sum that may fluctuate, that may be variable, not fixed? When a percentage of your daily sales is taken out, when a higher, when a lower amount, or when that isn't, and when a daily repayment is the case, and you're not struggling with cash flow and you can manage it. And I would prefer you get money taken out on a daily more than a weekly and more than a monthly. I'm going to be honest with you, unless it were like an SBA type of situation, then we can talk a bit different. But when it's unsecured financing, revenue based, I would rather prefer a daily than a weekly. I'm being quite honest. Weekly, even if you're doing 1 to 4 payments per month on a weekly basis, sure, but it's still quite a bit for people to manage. And if you're one of those businesses who's just, fluctuates in certain revenue, but you're above float, the daily would be more. And then when you think about if you have those credit card fees and what you're paying towards every single month, do you want to have a huge lump sum of 4,000 or 5,000 when you're already paying an additional 3,000 to 4,000 over here? Oh my God, I got 8,000. That doesn't always look good when you're trying to qualify for other services. So a business who's already struggling with cash flow, yeah, sure. Why would ever a daily payment make sense to you? But when you're not, You're just fighting to get the lowest price, but you don't understand how these services actually work. How do you move from a daily, weekly to a monthly? You have to get a better understanding of that. So I think that's what I want to leave it with. Let me see if I missed anything on my notes. Just to recap, we spoke about the constituent advocate, the small business advocate, how to do the SBA EIDL loan appeal with the introductory of Michael here. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming in and saying this is how it's done in Texas. You have experience with it. And of course, every state is going to be different, but you want to get in contact with your US Senator. Usually you have two. And so when you can get in there, you saw on congress.gov is where you want to start with. Put in your state. You can be more specific, but it'll give you a more limited amount of results. And at times, yeah, you can get in contact with the House and a few other parties. But what you want to get in contact with is your senator. Contact them. You saw that. They can send you right to their email page. You want to select, put the right details in. You want to make sure you select small business or small businesses as your issue. And if it's not easily stated, it might be something that's banking/finance. And it could be where you have to go through the issues tab to dispute an issue. And then right there is where you see the email. And then that's where you can put in that template that I showed you guys, send it across, and then give it a little bit of time. Then maybe giving you a call. So be ready for that phone number that's likely listed, or it could be a different one because you're getting contact with the constituent advocate. Not a lot of times will they send you an email right away. So it might be 1 to 2+ weeks. And then everything happening with EIDL, it could be a little bit more of a drawn out process. A lot of stuff is happening. Some of these things, again, I cannot disclose. I cannot release publicly, at least at this time. So that's what I'm going to leave it with. Make sure I'm covered all the details. Oh, one last thing, private lending options to get a better understanding of what you can qualify for. Like I shut down people just recently. Like I have a few people who said, well, I didn't qualify for SBA loans. Well, once they filled out that questionnaire, I understood why. Could have been business credit. It could have had something to do with your FICO credit, not having enough of a Paydex score, not having the FICO SBSS score you needed, maybe not enough cash flow, credit collateral. Collateral is just part of SBA. It's the last step they look at. They look at a few other things before. They look at your cash flow as your primary thing, liquidity, equity, and then it's cash flow or collateral. So liquidity injections usually happen at closing, and on top of having a down payment, if you were to put one down, like at 10%, there might be an extra 20 to 30% liquidity. So overall 30%, but not in all cases. They just want to make sure you have extra cash on hand to service the debt. And not only for servicing the debt, but making sure that you can take care of your own cash flow. We don't want to take away so much away from your month to month that we leave you with nothing. And now you're drowning in a lot more debt. You can't make your payments. And in 3 years, you're having to close down. You're having to close down your business checking account. We see it all the time. So this is why it's information that we need to have on hand. So look for everything down below in the description. I know I spent a good amount of time. I could have cut it much shorter. And I spent a good amount of time on that congress.gov because I wanted to look through different states. And some of those little ones I'm still learning of. Like certain states, oh, this is the way it looks. This is the process that you have to select to go through that one. And then this is what you want to do after this step to move forward. And then again, they're changing their pages, their outlook. So what you saw here today could be changing for them to make it much easier for you. And as they're getting submissions, they'll realize that. And some people probably complaining. So keep that on the back of your mind. And I greatly appreciate you guys' time and energy for being here with me on this Monday. I hope you all have an amazing week. I will be emailing plenty of you, filling out the questionnaire forms. If you haven't heard back from me, please hang in there. I have quite a few. I spent a good amount of time on Saturday responding to emails, to YouTube videos, to blog posts, to my mother. Excuse me, I'm joking. But I did. I responded back to my mom. And so much more, okay? So hope you all have a great week again. And I will talk to you all soon. Keep looking out for my content. Keep looking out for my emails. They may land in the spam box. I may have already emailed you. I may have already texted you, but you haven't been responsive to me. Don't take the time and energy to come into my world then and fill out a questionnaire and there to be no kind of feedback. It's just the truth. It's not negative. I'm sure you don't want your energy and your time wasted when you find out somebody you connected with personally and then you know them in a business level. They go completely AWOL. And then they come back later, oh my God, I wish I would have done it your way. You know, they say those words, oh my God. And now if I would have realized the way this was done, I would have done it more effectively. There's still some time to fix this. This is how I would approach this. This is what the lenders will want. Or you already went this direction. What I recommend is you stick there. That's what I'll say sometimes. It's not because I want to make money. It's, hey, I want to help you first up here mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, honestly, because I worked on myself that way. And then that will then translate into your own business. So that's all I'm going to leave it with. Look in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. But like I've said before, you can rest your head on your pillow before you go to bed. And if you have that thought, I was able to share this guy's content with a good amount of people, even if it's just one person who needed an education. You can wake up feeling more refreshed in the morning. They can feel more refreshed in the morning, going to bed easily, not having to wake up, having to struggle. God, I got to waste another 1 to 3 months trying to figure this all stuff out. I'm applying everywhere and everywhere. I'm using the spray and pray method. Don't want to make mistakes after mistakes on that. And then come to it later on, realize, ooh, should have listened to this guy. He was telling me the truth. And I don't just speak on EIDL. I speak on everything. And again, I'm a broker who's going to take care of you at the end of the day. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. Talk soon. Bye.